Hello everybody, it's me, Dark1 here again, to show you some more RWS Customs. Now, sorry for the infrequency on Thursdays, but I had to wrap up some school stuff and re-record what was going to be the original start of the usual 4 engines, 1 recording, 1 session type thing I've been telling you how to do. So, without further ado, let's get started on the refilming of this. Today we will be looking at Sam. Now, first things first, you may be wondering, who is Sam? Well, Sam was a brief CGI cameo character who appeared in I believe a children's book and had a brief character introductory in a CGI-esque format. And something that you'll notice about him is that he's an Allegheny. If you don't know what that is, that's a 2666 type steam locomotive from America. And you can already imagine that over in Britain would probably sink rails, damage bridges, and wouldn't be able to fit through a tunnel. So, obviously, we had to downsize. So, rather than being a giant Allegheny, he is now a technically giant, but not giant-esque War Department 210L designed by Robert Riddles. Now, as you can obviously see, I've tried to capture that essence of the dubs, as we call them in the trains community. Well, not just trains, but general consensus for all rail fans or railway enthusiasts, whichever you want to go by. But I tried to capture the feel of the dubs best I can. Let's start by taking off the tender. As you can see, I tried to capture the 4 axles. Also kept the essence of the rather extended coal bunker up top, and of course water filler cap. And then as for the locomotive shape, I lined out the cab shape because I'd rather not go through the hassle of cutting out the windows, because that would not only be very challenging at this scale, but would also mean I'd have to model the insides of the cab, which is not the best thing. But I've essentially markered it up as if it were the actual cab window and design, as I've done with all of them. Then there's the firebox, which isn't meshed in with the boiler. That's another thing. With my models, I can't just make the boiler and the firebox as one. They have to be separated depending on what type of boiler it is. If it's a round top, then it's just a normal boiler barrel. If it's a bell pair, you have to now essentially make a box structure to go over the boiler after you finish it. And if it's something akin to the Gresley or Peppercorn Pacifics with the sloping firebox, that has to be a separate piece, which you can see here, how it slopes. But I've modeled, safety valves. He's got his dome. And something that I've added is a Westinghouse air brake pump. This was seen on an example that I believe was sent overseas. I saw it when I was looking up said class, and I decided, hey, why not fit that up here? Because, I mean, it makes sense. It is a homage to the fact that he's not from solely Britain. And to capture the feel of War Department-esque mannerisms, he's got a cut. Yes, I know, edgy cut on the face. But yeah, what's a war veteran without a little bit of a war wound, whether internal or external? And I feel like this captures the personality he'd have. He just doesn't care. He's a grouch, a lovable grouch. Also, something I'll point out is that his firebox actually is split because I goofed up, but hey, it worked out in the end, and here he is. And there's his valve gear. I'll let you use your imagination to how that would work, because I know some of y'all might not have actually watched the video on the dubs, but if you have, you already know how this is gonna go. Now, with all this stuff out of the way, his classification is, I believe, 8F. Yes, I know a 210L is an 8F. That's very odd, but that's how it is. So, taking that into account, let's put them alongside some other heavy freight engines which have run on British rails. Starting with Hank. Yes, obligatory cameo of Hank as a USATC S160. Now, of course, the WD is longer because 210, 280, etc. But Hank's tender is a bit larger actually. I don't know if that's accurate or not because these are technically in their own sort of weird proportionate scale, but there it is. And now let's take him away and bring in another heavy freight loco who has already made his debut, Murdoch. 210 meets 210, and they're both technically designed by Robert Riddles, so hey, it's a family reunion, kind of. And you can see just the type of differences between these two, but also the similarities, such as how the tender has that extended upwards bunker X design, but then again, he does have a different tender design that I had made before. And of course, there's the difference in smoke deflectors and cab design, but still, in essence, very similar. Now, with all that mess out of the way, that's probably where we're going to wrap this up. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video, or taking the time to. You didn't have to, but thanks. And I'll see you in the next video, which hopefully will be on time again. But anyway, catch you on the flip side.